this was a person who, he wanted great things for himself, but the thing that I remember, and I was just going through his things the other day, the first time I tried to go through them, I couldn't. I had a big box full of his clothing. But I finally came to the realization that my son, not only was he a very focused, very ambitious, and very driven person, he had a big heart. And I remember one time he came home, and it was in the dead of winter, and this was when he was about 19. He had no coat on. I said, where's your coat? Where's your jacket? And he goes, I gave it to some guy. And I said, you gave it to some guy? I said, your new jacket? And he said, yeah. He goes, Mom, he was homeless, and he didn't need a coat. He needed a coat, and he goes, he didn't have the money to buy a coat. He said, I gave him my coat. And I realized, okay, if he can give this guy his jacket, I can go through his things and give somebody that needs them some nice clothing. And I think that would be the thing that I would love for people to know about him, because a lot of people knew his drive and his ambition, but I don't know if they knew that soft part of him, the part that when he learned that he was going to be a father, and he called me from Germany, and he said, Mom, I don't know what to think. And I said, wow, I think you're going to be a daddy. And he goes, I know. He goes, do you think I'm ready? And I said, sure you are. And he goes, he goes, yeah, I think I can do this. And I said, sure you can. And he goes, I'm going to be a good dad. Yeah, that was the Ben that I would really like for people to know. I talked to the young man that did it, and I did that because I wanted to, to me, the worst thing to imagine would be if somebody had shot my son intentionally. That was the first thing I wanted to know. An accident, not that it makes it any easier, but I don't know why. In my heart, it would have been so much worse if it had been somebody shot him because they wanted to see him dead. That wasn't the case. To look this young man in the eyes, I knew it was an accident. So it was a tough time. I think the biggest support I had was from family. Our family got really, really close after that. A lot more. We're a lot more close now. Even, my daughter-in-law was suffering. Here you have a young woman who she thought she was starting a family. Now her husband's gone, and she was a single parent now. She needed somebody there for her, And then both of my youngest son, who was stationed out there with him, it was horrible. That was his best friend. He and Ben were so close. I mean, every weekend they were doing something together, and they'd call me. And Ben was it's funny because as much as I like to cook, he liked to cook as much. And so he was always cooking, and Marty was over there eating. So they were always hanging out together. So Marty lost his best friend and his older brother, and then a few weeks after Ben died, Marty's other close friend was shot and killed over in Iraq. But I wrote a lot of poetry surrounding Ben's death and my feelings about that, and I think that's how I got my anger out. This was the first one that I wrote, and I was really just feeling so much grief, and I just titled it Ocean of Tears. And I said, today I realized that I could cry an ocean of tears, and it would still not be enough to wash away my grief. Sadness so thick, so deep, so wide, it could be the eighth wonder of the world. It rises up like a creature in the shadows, always lurking about, waiting for that moment it can spring on its prey, overwhelming and terrifying, leaving me in a state of unreality, looking back on what once was. Knowing, living, my very essence has changed. I may have lost, but have not forgotten, the beautiful countenance, so very much its own. Giving me faith renewed in the wonders of God, I miss you. I miss the challenge of your intellect, your difficult ways. Never settled, always searching, better and better, because nothing less can be accepted. A part of me, but completely separate, better than I could ever be. My pride, my firstborn, my hero. I could cry an ocean of tears, and it would not be enough to wash away my grief. But my joy will rise up and keep me afloat, the joy that comes from being your mother, and the blessing that God has chose to bestow upon me. That was the first poem that I wrote. I had a dream one night, and he was here with me, and we were talking, and he was in my kitchen, and he was cooking, one of the things that he loved to do. And I kept going over, and I'd just grab him, and I'd hug him, and I'd wrap my arms around him, and it just kept saying, I love you, and finally he goes, okay, Mom. He goes, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And I woke up from that dream just feeling like he had been there. It was just the weirdest feeling.